I had a question for Zach. Uh, what do you feel being that the draft is tomorrow? What do you feel draft prospects are for Oregon and first round and stuff like that? Where do you see some guys going?
It should be a really good draft. I mean, we talked to Tosh Lapoy and Will Stein earlier this week. They expect to set the Oregon record for the most draft picks taken in program history, which currently was set last year with 8. They expect no less than 10 this year. They should also continue their streak of first round players, like players drafted in the first round. They've had 4 the past 4 years, starting with Justin Herbert in 2020. If Derek Harmon can go in the first round, that will reach 5 years. Josh Connerly also has a chance to go in the first round. Depending on the mock drafts you look at, one, both, none will go in. I mean, it's kind of
Mm.
depends on where you look. For the most part, I mean, I would be pretty surprised if they do not have a first rounder taken tomorrow night. Um, but that's kind of the beauty of the draft. You don't really know. There's months of speculation leading up to this one night in particular, and then the 2 days afterwards. It makes for a crazy night of work, a crazy few days. It's always slightly fun, mostly frustrating that Oregon chooses to plan their spring game for the same weekend of the draft every year. It kind of makes I've told family and friends this is the longest week of the off season for me, just because late nights of doing draft prep and spring game prep and a lot of work. But this is considering this work is it's funny because it's exactly what I want to be doing. It's You're not working when you love what you do.
Exactly.
Yep. Yep. I would say, yeah, exactly. Harmon, possibly Connerly, maybe both, but at least one should somewhere. But it depends on team needs, like you say, where it comes up, team needs, and all that. So it's always
I'd be surprised if Harmon does not go because he's just so talented, and it feels pretty consensus that he's going to go somewhere in the mid to late teens, early 20s. Connerly is a different story. Like you said, it matters when that run on left tackle starts with um, guys like Kelvin Banks and I'm forgetting the name. I'm not even going to try and say it, but um, there's several guys in that first round left tackle prospects that could start going if they start going early. Connerly could move up the list. He could also be early second round too. I don't think he's going to drop to the 40s though. He'll be at least a top 40 pick.
I could agree with that. That's why there was always a speculation like, where's Dylan Gabriel going to go? And they're like, probably undrafted. I'm like, I think someone will pull the trigger late 4th round to like early 6th, somewhere in that range. Someone's going to take him as a solid like prospect backup potential.
Yeah, he will. In my mind, he'll be a day 3 pick. I don't see him going undrafted just because the quarterback position is so valuable. And getting you know, the second best passer in college football history just by stats alone, like that's valuable. Someone's going to take a chance on that. Can he be Taylor Heineke at the next level? Like that's valuable. Having a very solid backup to be able to come in and um, win you some games and at least keep you in games down the stretch if your starter gets hurt. And then, I mean, he may not have the longest NFL career. He may get a handful of starts. He may get he may be like the next Tua when he's healthy and be able to get in there and even at a smaller size play and be a very good operator over a system. So we've seen what he can do. He's a very successful quarterback, very talented player. It's just understandable that NFL teams don't want to take a risk on that size because we've seen that it can kind of burn you in the past.
Are you surprised at the success that Bo Nix had in his first year in Denver?
No, I'm not. It makes sense. He's such a cerebral player. He may not have all the intangibles of Justin Herbert or someone like Jaden Daniels last year, but he's so good at processing and running an offense. It makes sense that he worked out with Sean Payton because Sean Payton is the perfect offensive mind for him. I mean, that marriage in Denver was, it was picture perfect. It makes total sense that he went there. I'm really not surprised. It helps that he had a really good defense to lean on. I know that Denver's offense was not lighting it up all year long. But he did exactly what he needed to do to win games. And, I think they played really well down the stretch. And he's someone that we've seen him get better and better every year of his career. So I'm excited. He's someone that I could really see making a big leap in year 2, because this is that first offseason in the NFL for a quarterback is where you make all of your movement. That's where you improve the most. So we know how hard of a worker he is, how good of a preparer he is. I'm sure that he's, in the lab with Sean Payton, and I wouldn't be surprised if Denver's another really good team this year.
And come on, Denver, draft Terrence Ferguson. Do it.
That'd be fun.
Do it.
Get
They
Troy
are in
and
love.
Bo
They
and
do
Terrence
like
together.
him. Yeah,
Yeah,
they like him a lot.
Troy, Tez, and Bo, that would be great.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
that'd be great.
don't. This is the only reason I did want Spencer to be here, because I was going to remind him, like, by the way, I told you, just wait till the NFL catches word about Tez and Bo. And then they've run like a 4 or 5 minute thing about their relationship already.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll hear about it again.
God.